7:20. Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. It's time for our Ask the Expert segment with Brenda Hollingsworth from Ottawa Hollingsworth Personal Injury Lawyers. Give us a call, 789-6559, extension 2803. If you want to give us a call live on the air to ask your questions, you can always send them in as well through our email and through our Facebook page, even on Twitter. Brenda, always a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Weather's getting nicer, the bike lanes are busy, the canal is busy, and so we have new issues that are coming through with people out on the streets.
Yeah, no, cycling is always a great thing to do, but also with tons of risks. I was telling you off camera, we had a big row in our house this morning. Our 11-year-old, desperate to ride his bike to school, but that involves crossing Carling. And personal injury parents do not allow the 11-year-old to cross Carling on his bike, even though all of his friends are doing it. It's a really tough thing for parents to deal with the risks that come with cycling.
So it's not about him being out. It's not about him being out on his own or getting to and from or being on his bike. It's what you're dealing with the vehicles that you know are traveling on these roads and are not quite ready for a cyclist to be there.
That's right, an inexperienced cyclist especially, right. So, yeah, he's allowed to go on his bike, he's allowed to walk across Carling, but the fear of the bike is really something. We see tons of young people who are injured on their bikes, lots of fractures. Fortunately, almost always wearing a helmet. Hardly ever do we see a child with a head injury. Adults are a different story, but hardly ever a child with a head injury now because of the bike helmets, we think, but lots of fractures.
I mean, as a parent, you've made your decision. You said no, it's not happening.
Yes.
Can you understand the parents that this is maybe there's no choice and that they're saying okay to the child to be able to go? What should there be more instinctive rules? If you're saying that he could walk across Carling, could they walk their bikes across Carling?
Well, that's his argument, for sure.
But am I thinking like an 11-year-old right now?
Yeah.
I'll walk my bike across the street.
Yeah, we've heard that, but I've seen his friends, right? They're not walking their bikes across Carling, and I don't really blame them. And I grew up exactly where we live. I rode my bike across Carling when I was in grade 5, for sure. But now traffic is just not expecting them, right? Cyclists, little kids tend to cross in the crosswalk, right? Even on their bikes, and they tend to go up on the sidewalk. Maybe they're going against traffic because they don't know the rules of the road. And even if you tell them, if their friends want to cross somewhere, they're going to cross where their friends cross. Mm-hmm. And so it's very difficult to sort of let go. And I mean, I've seen a number of accidents with kids, even at grade 8, grade 9, where they're crossing at the crosswalk, their bikes in the pedestrian crosswalk, and they're hit by vehicles turning right or vehicles turning left that don't see them.
All right, as drivers, I mean, you're seeing so many different types of clients coming through as drivers. What should we be aware of? Because we could be looking at being faced with a lawsuit, being faced with certain things if we are not aware of the rules that we need to know with the cyclist.
Right. For starters, when it's car versus bike, almost always the car is going to be at least partly responsible. Even if you think the bike's going the wrong way or shouldn't be in the crosswalk, you're going to be responsible. The Highway Traffic Act puts a reverse onus basically on drivers when it's driver versus cyclist or driver versus pedestrian. So you can't just say, oh, well, the bike was at fault. The bike wasn't where he's supposed to be. The bike's a vehicle. I hear that a lot. Well, the bike is a vehicle. Well, yes, but there are special rules for this vehicle. So what you need to watch for in particular is in the crosswalk, bikes in the crosswalk going from sidewalk to sidewalk. No, they're not allowed to be on the sidewalk, but yes, they are on the sidewalk. If you're turning right or if you're turning left, because they're faster than pedestrians. So what I hear a lot from drivers is, well, if it had been a pedestrian, I would have had time and I wasn't expecting a bike. Well, you need to expect bikes, especially anywhere near a school, anywhere near a park. They're everywhere.
We're going to talk about what happens if you are hit, if you are injured. Similar to what you would do if you're in a car accident, or it differs a lot when you're coming from a cyclist perspective? There are some surprises.
Yeah.
So we'll hit on those as soon as we come back from the commercial break. And keep in mind, of course, if you have a question for Brenda, 789-6559, extension 2803, give us a call. We're going to be dealing with what happens once there is an incident and how you should proceed when it comes to cyclists on the roads. Facebook and our email, ottawa.morning@ctv.ca. We're back with more after this.